reddish stone. In Chinese medicine, it assists the triple burner or the sanjiao. And it's made of the same material that clear quartz and rose quartz are made out of. It helps calm irritated skin and acne. And like I said, it works on the triple warmer. And the triple warmer has been said that it is like the lymphatic system. So it assists with moving and clearing out. Scolecite. Scolecite is a zeolite. We don't really see it much often. Do you see scolecite? I had it out here someplace. Scolecite is a zeolite. Yeah, it's a zeolite. So I love working with this, but these are very soft stones. I'm going to put this up to see if you can see how looks like almost like a little sea urchin. And I don't know if everyone can see this. So if you've been in the health field, you'll know that scolecite is used to detox. It's used to drain. It's been used in waters to detoxify water. It cleaned up Fukushima. Yes.
Someone says I don't see justice. That is a setting then that some people have to open up Zoom.
Okay, you have to open up Zoom to see me. I don't know East. Some people can't see me. I don't know why. But it's our hertz. It's the same hertz. So jade has more of an analogous fit with the human body, and that's why it's been used for thousands of years in TCM. Back to scolecite. Scolecite is a zeolite. Zeolites are very cleaning. If you are a doctor of Chinese medicine, think of it as kind of like a damp reliever, like a citrus and pinelia, an urchin tongue. It drains dampness. Beyond stone has over 40 minerals and trace elements. It has negative ions. It has antioxidant properties. It's good for depleted skin because it boosts and fortifies it. And then some people like to use obsidian. It's made from volcanic crystal and amorphous rock. It has a very fire grounding energy. It removes blockages in the meridian system, and it's a very strong protective stone. I do not advise working with obsidian unless you have a very special case. It's a very strong stone to work with. Stick with jade. A lot of the people out there love rose quartz, and then I think fire agate for very specific cases. Oh, we're going to go back. Yeah.
Is there a video measuring the hertz of crystals? How do they determine frequency? That would help my patients who think this is helpful.
There are books that talk about frequencies. A lot of this, if you've read the works of Nikola Tesla, talk about that, but not specifically the vibrational matter of stone. I believe the information about jade comes from ancient texts, but I'm sure someplace it's written, or it's someplace it is. And we're going to talk about tourmaline in just a minute, because we have really good studies. And if you look, you can see that if they use a Geiger counter in front of like an EMF, it lowers the Geiger counter by reflecting the EMF stuff. So I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. Okay, pearls. We talked about pearl powder. So if you're a doctor of Chinese medicine, you know how amazing pearls are. It calms the shen, or the spirit. It's been used in beauty for thousands of years in TCM. Saltwater pearls are superior to freshwater pearls. Pearls help with hyperpigmentation by blocking tyrosine in the skin. It reduces brown spots, melasma, and inflammation. It contains certain amino acids, trace minerals, including silica. It brightens and whitens the skin. It's adaptogenic and anti-inflammatory, and it can be used both topically and taken internally. And again, if you look on my Instagram, I just did a piece for Well and Good. I'm doing a series for them on gemstones, birthstones, and the gems and the properties that they have. That is on my Instagram, and that will be throughout the year, talking about birthstones. This year we're talking about pearl because it is June, and June's birthstone is pearl. Okay, so let's talk about detoxification. I hit on this a little bit before. So crystals are used for protection against EMFs. That is what? Oh, we have questions?
Would still appreciate a further explanation of the jade wavelength. body.
Okay. I will have to get back with you regarding jade and the human wavelengths. It's written about human texts. I will try to find a source.
Then in ancient frequency could not be measured. Let's do I.
Okay. All right. We'll try to get back to you on that. Okay. Because this is just a compilation of lots and lots of work. So crystals are protective against EMFs. If you go on YouTube, there's tons of scientists showing how tourmaline can reduce the EMF load and also the EMF load that comes off of computers. And so by my computer, I have shungite, you've probably heard of that, black tourmaline, I have pyrite in front of my computer. Please do not use clear quartz in front of your computer, because I know we always have like things down here in front of our computer when we work. Black, you will reflect the bad EMFs. If you have quartz, you're going to amplify it. So just remember that, because I know we have a lot of things on our desk. If you're going to do anything, keep the quartz at least 2 feet to the side and put your black stones in front. There is a really nice acupuncturist, her name is Sarah Norvillis. If you're watching this, she has a really cool thing on her Instagram page where she did an experiment showing how tourmaline reduced the EMFs coming from a computer. And then she did it with a Geiger counter. So good crystals to use for protection are smoky quartz, shungite, black tourmaline, jet, onyx, pyrite, hematite, and lodestone. Lodestone is also called magnetite, and those are ferromagnetic, meaning they have iron in them. We talked about keeping the quartz family away from your computer, and I also talked about the tourmaline and how it works. And tourmaline is also really good to use at your front door. It's also very good to use in your back door. I can talk about tourmaline a little bit later. What these black stones, because they have iron, entrained with the Earth's iron core, 1/6 of our planet is an iron ore. We talked in the last page about zeolites and how they are used to clear toxins out of the body. A lot of zeolites you'll find in water filters. Zeolites were used to clean up Fukushima. And we talked about using like a gem elixir for protection. So if you want something that's more protective, you can use a smoky quartz instead of regular quartz. And then we also talked about salt bath to detoxify. And you can use those for your stones as well. You can just sit your stones on a pile of salt. Okay, crystal grids. This grid I made at the beginning of the pandemic with my daughter. Some will recognize this from another class I taught. Crystal grids are geometric patterns of stones charged with intention to help manifest or protect. And then if you go back into the Bible, they believe that Aaron's breastplate was a crystal grid, which was made out of our 12 birthstones that was used for protection. And that was in the Bible. Crystal grids must be used for good intention and for healing. They must point to magnetic north. So if you have one of these awesome things, you can find out where magnetic north is. And the top of the grid has to be pointed towards magnetic north. I like using, or it's said that you should be using crystals that are in the same system, so the same color, the same family of stones, and you want to avoid crystal chaos. So this grid has 3 different families of stones in it. A lot of it are fluorite, different types of fluorite. The center stone is a giant green piece of fluorite that's about this big. Crystal grids can be made in lots of different shapes that reflect sacred geometry, which is said to be the universal language. If you see like a sacred spiral, which is what I used a lot in my building, it's used to help amplify what you're trying to achieve. My building, Healy House, is a giant crystal grid. So when I was building my building, I had the place completely gutted. And I used steel instead of wood in my building. And so I was able to populate a giant grid using black tourmaline, selenite, and clear quartz. In my building, I used it above the doors, above the windows, and they were everywhere. I had black tourmaline as protection that is in my garden, and then my whole building has a perimeter of Calusha, which is a plant that's local to Florida. Before we planted them, I used about 50 pounds of ground tourmaline and just put it in the trench before we put the plants in. In the center point of my building, I have a crystal grid. If you go on Helia House's website, which is just Helia House, you'll see something about crystal grids. And if you slide through, I mean, they're not pretty pictures. I have a crystal grid about this big with a huge pyrite sun with 13 Congolese citrines around it that I actually buried in the midpoint of my building. And that was for health and abundance, because this was really like the culmination of my last 20 some odd years of practice. You can do it in your house. You don't have to bury things. You do not have to go over the top like myself. You can put clear quartz points in your windowsill. You can put a black tourmaline at your door. You can just use selenite bars. You don't have to do anything fancy. You can use this in ceremony. There's lots of really beautiful ways to use crystal grids. For me, it's almost like a meditation. Obviously doing my building was not a meditation, but it actually was a very special day that we ended up making that crystal grid in my building. So it was a very wonderful experience. I did it with my daughter, Charlotte. It took months on end. All right, next slide. All right, here is a crystal grid video. Char, I may need your help with this. This is how to crystal grid a patient. I'm going to go through this.
Hi everybody, today I'm going to show you how to crystal grid your patient and open up the Ren and the Dew. So first, it's really important to start with very specific stones. I like to use black stones. I have magnetite or lodestone and hematite and a natural clear quartz point. And then there are other stones that I use, which I'll show you in a bit. So we're going to start with a natural clear quartz point. It has to be at least 2 inches with a natural tip. You're going to place this stone above where Dew 20 is. So look for Dew 20 and place it behind the patient's head, pointing upwards. Then I'm going to go to the bottom of the patient and I'm going to pull my black stones. Right now I'm going to be using magnetite and hematite. For basic gridding, you really don't need to use 4 stones. This patient is tall, so what I'm going to do is use 4 stones by her ankles, but I do need to move the middle stones toward the bottom of her feet. So you can see that I have to go to the base of the table and place the stones there. If she was shorter, I would just put them down by her ankles. All right, now time for crystal gridding. You can do this by Hara diagnosis. You can use a pendulum, or you can use their constitution to figure out where to place the stones. This patient has weak digestion, so I'm going to use the citrine on her 3rd chakra at Ren 12. And then on Ren 17, I'm placing malachite on her heart chakra. Malachite is exceptional for blood and moving chi. And then that's a basic crystal grid layout. I don't like to use more than just a few stones because it can cause crystal crowding. But this patient will sit with the needles in. You can add essential oils, and then you just take the crystals off when you're finished. But I really like working with citrine and malachite. So after the treatment is over, you can use sound to retune your crystals. And this is a basic crystal gridding and opening up the Ren and Dew with clear quartz and black stones. Thanks so much for joining.
Okay, sorry, is there any question?
Not now.
Okay, so we're going to talk about just crystal points right now because there was a lot of confusion in another class that I've taught. So these 2 crystals look a lot alike. I don't know if you can see them. There we go. You guys see these? I don't know why they're
There you
there.
go.
We go. They look a lot alike, right? This is a cut stone, and this is a natural point. When a natural point forms, we know that the energy comes off of the apex, okay? Which is really important because this is used to direct energy. So if you think about liver chi stagnation, that energy is coming up, you want this crystal point being able to redirect the energy down. And a cut point, you don't know which way that point is coming out of here because this is cut by a machine and we don't really know the internal structure and where that point is coming from. So although this is really beautiful and lovely, I don't suggest using for healing. It's great for decoration if you want to do a grid, but use natural points. I'm going to show you another one as well. This is a double terminated tangerine quartz. And you can see it's got a natural point and it's actually double terminated, which means its energy goes out of both sides. Okay, so just super important when you are using crystals for gridding, use natural pointed stones.
Someone has.
I will post that video to my Instagram. How's that? All right, so thank you for your interest. Really easy, you're just going to use a clear quartz going down, because remember we want to send the chi down. And then we're going to use iron-based stones on the bottom to ground. So that can be anything from lodestone, which is called magnetite, smoky quartz, jet, onyx. I like using hematite, anything that has iron in it. And even I can use pyrite, which I do use sometimes. All right, next slide.
Hi, everybody. Today.
Oh, whoops. Working with the pendulum. Okay, so pendulums are another way to work with crystals. This is actually a really interesting zeolite pendant. I have a few of them if you're interested. That is canvasite and scolecite in sterling silver, and it is a beautiful pendulum. They are a tool for checking and sensing energy. Now, obviously, if you are an acupuncture physician, you should know how to do this, but this is really an interesting way to see what chakra or which energy center is out of balance. And you can use this while crystals are on it, or you can use it to pull the crystal that you want. So I have a video following this that you can see how you can use this to see what's off. Now, obviously, we have tone diagnosis and pulse diagnosis, which is great. This is just another tool to help you detect what's going on with your patient.
So that's a.
That is a thank you so much. I have a few of them left. If you're interested, I'll leave my email. You can always DM me on Instagram. I can connect you. I don't know where they are, but I do have a few of them left. And by the way, these are from a source of mine. So I'm incredibly picky where I source my crystals from. This is from one of my sources that I've had for 20 years. He is what's called an urban miner in India. He goes into places that are being dug up for like apartments or buildings, pulls the matter out. So he's not going in and just blowing up the side of a mountain. And these are no longer available. So they're very special.
Someone would like to know what. What the stone is.
So the stone, the white is scolecite. We talked about scolecite. It's very cleansing, and that is canvasite. And it's beautiful. It's blue. It's gorgeous. It is very difficult to find. And so that one is, but you can use a pendulum with a quartz on it. You can literally take one of your necklaces off and use that. And I've used necklaces just to prove a point that I can take something off around my neck, use it as a pendulum. So if you want something that's beautiful and that you're attracted to, that's great. You can work with your necklace or a piece of jewelry. Okay, so we have a video showing how to work with pendulum. I will be posting these on my Instagram feed within the next week, so you can refer to it. Okay. Yes, you put it in there.
Working with a crystal pendulum can be an excellent resource, but you need to know the basics. So when you begin with a pendulum, it can really be anything on a chain. It can be silver or gold. You can use a necklace, but you need to know what yes and no is. So begin by holding your pendulum with a steady hand and ask, what is yes? So in this case, yes is the circle. Stop the pendulum and ask, what is no? No is back and forth. Then you can ask the pendulum questions just to confirm your yes or no. My name is Elizabeth. Pendulum is going in a circle. My name is Lisa. The pendulum is going back and forth. So we know what our yeses and our nos are. Now we can use this to check what chakra is off in a patient. And this can be very quickly. So we're going to check the root chakra. It's fine, it's spinning. And the chakra can go, let's see, the chakra can really go anyway. So this patient has a very healthy root chakra. Go to the second. Nice circle. The third, the solar plexus. Fourth, this is the heart chakra. And we can see that this patient has some irregularities with her heart chakra. This could be sadness, it could be a breakup, it really could be anything. The fifth, so once we've detected that this fourth chakra is off, and you can see how it's going back and forth, then we can spin it. And spinning reattunes the chakra. Now, you can check your work after you do acupuncture on this patient and or by putting a stone on the fourth chakra, which would be either green or pink. So now that we've reattuned the fourth chakra, we can check it and we can see that the chakra is now aligned. This can be used in conjunction with crystals, with a pendulum, and or acupuncture. But you can see that her fourth is now aligned. After just a brief attunement, Charlotte's fourth chakra is back in alignment.
Okay, so I don't know how many acupuncturists we have on here at East. I don't know if you can like just give me an approximation. But what's interesting about chakras is they correspond to all of our acupuncture points that are in those places. So, you know, we're talking about Ren 1 do 1, Ren 17 is the fourth, the top chakras do 20. It's really quite amazing how the Ayurvedic system and the TCM systems are literally perfect back and forth. All right, so moving on. And you know, you don't have to do this in practice. This is something that you can just play around with. I'm fascinated how this works. Obviously, this is why I included it in my presentation. Any questions, Char?
Yes, I'm done.
Oh, okay. Oops. Okay. So let's talk about this. This is amethyst. Biomats. I don't know how many of you use biomats, but they are amazing. I have been using biomats for over 20 years, almost 25 years, because I absolutely hated TDP lamps. And we had a fire when I was in school. And so I was completely petrified of heat lamps when I was in school because of this incident that happened in school. So I had searching for something to heat a patient up. It wasn't Moxa. I have asthma. I'm very open about that. And then I found this biomat and it was amazing. I literally drove my rep up the wall for maybe 3 months, looking for the science, asking about, was this FDA approved, et cetera, et cetera. And I have 7 of them. I have 5 at my office, a big one at home, and a little mini that I sent my daughter to college with. So just like we talked about, crystals are used as tools. Biomats are about 26 pounds of gem grade amethyst in a mat. They produce far infrared heat, negative ions. They have a high vibrational rate, so it's really a great assist for helping with like lymphatic drainage. It really moves the chi. It works with the vessels and the arteries. So, and this is kind of gross, but we are all taking care of people here. Patients will get off the Biomet and they will notice that their urine has a smell or a different color to it. It's just because it's removing or moving a lot of energy. It's great passive heat. So that doesn't mean your office is going to smell like Moxa. You don't have to touch anything. You just slap your patient on it. I have been a Diamond distributor of Biomeds for years. They're great. They give professional discounts. If you're interested, please message me. They are a wonderful tool to use in practice. And that's a really great question. Amethysts are within the quartz system. Most likely you'll be working with quartz. I am very careful. A lot of things that you see on my feed are more like decorative, beautiful posts as opposed to actually what I'm doing in practice. I think not. I think this was developed really more as a heat source. That's an amazing question. I have never found that it creates any crystal crowding. So that's a great question. Yeah, amazing question. My daughter was raised on Biomet, so she's like, that was a great question. All right, let's talk about colored crystals, crystals versus gemstones. Okay, so there's a lot of beautiful shiny objects out there. And even things that look great, like even you saw in a past video, we're going to use citrine, for example. That point that you're looking to on the left of your screen is actually the heat treated crystal. It may actually be an amethyst and not a citrine. Citrine, amethyst, quartz, chalcedony, jasper. They're all in the same family, agate, excuse me, not jasper. So that's a heat treated citrine to make it look more yellow. In fact, it's here on my desk. So I don't know if you can see this. Actually, you have a better picture on your screen. This is heat treated to make it more yellow. What you're looking to in the middle, that is a Congolese citrine. Citrine should have like a honey color, almost like a brownie yellow color. Sometimes it's very hard to tell the difference between a natural citrine and a smoky quartz. It's very close, but that honeyed color. Congolese citrine are a little bit more brown. And then I have some Brazilian citrines on my desk. I'm going to pull this one, has a little bit more yellow. It has dust, so don't judge. This is actually a citrine. This is a citrine from Brazil. And then my ring, which is the sun, that is a unheated gemstone. So you can tell by the color, the cut, the clarity, and the carat, that is a gemstone. And that is a premium citrine that is to the right. So it's really, really important that you understand your stones, what you're looking at. And also you don't really want to use anything that's heat treated. You know, if you've got it and you're using it, that's fine. I have some citrine that I use in my practice. I'm not just going to throw it in the garbage. But I have gravitated to be much more careful about what I select stone-wise that I use on patients. There's other things that I used to have just because I thought they were pretty. They're aura crystals. They usually take a quartz crystal, they put a coating on it, heat treated. It gives it that really intense flash that is man-made. Also, just briefly, lab diamonds, they say that they're perfect, whatever. I'm not going to get too involved in it, but lab-grown diamonds are not naturally occurring stones. And gemstones, crystals, have been formed in the earth for thousands of years. They are not renewable resources. So just like you invest in using good herbs and you eat good food, please be mindful about using good stones. There are people who mine them that are not paid a lot of money. How are they treated coming out of the earth? I do speak about this. I do write about this a lot for the media. I'm asked to write on it a lot. There's something with diamonds called a Kimberley certificate that is about the closest thing that you are going to get, letting you know that a diamond has been mined fairly. So you've heard of blood diamonds where they were exploiting people were dying in mines. Just be mindful. If you do go crystal shopping, go to a gem show, ask questions, ask where it comes from, how is it mined, and you're investing in these tools. So, you know, if you already have them, please, no shame, no nothing, but you are working on people with these. My advice is to invest in good pieces. They don't have to be huge. Just make sure that they are not heat treated, they came out of the earth well. I know it's a little bit of a difficult subject, and I will probably go into that later if I teach this course again, which I am hoping to in more depth, but be mindful of that.
Someone asked, please, what's your recommendation for
Biomat source is me. You can get them from me. I can sign you up. You can either buy your biomat. I am a distributor. Like I said, I'm a diamond distributor. So that's the highest distributor you can be. If you have a license, you get a discount on the rate, and then you can also become a distributor. So these are excellent to use in practice. You can send them to your patients or sell them to your patients. I can't tell you how many biomats I've sold to patients. They're amazing tools. I have patients from other countries that take them home with them. You can get them with wiring if you have patients that live someplace else in another country. Please reach out to me and I can get you connected. We can get you a biomat. Okay, feng shui. So if you're a practitioner of traditional Chinese medicine, feng shui is another adjunct study of how energy flows. Feng shui is wind and water in Chinese. And this is Helia House when I was building it. We do not have paper on the window anymore. And this was designed in tandem with my feng shui master who did like the Mandalay and the Wynn hotels in Las Vegas. He's a really big feng shui master. But you don't need to get a feng shui master. You know basic principles of traditional Chinese medicine, especially if you're an acupuncturist. So for instance, you're going to want to use black stones in the north because that represents kidney. You can figure that out. It's pretty easy. I like to use protection grids. So when I built Helia House, and I touched upon this later, my garden that's like a little garden in my front of my building. And all of those plants are spirals, which is sacred geometry. There's black tourmaline underneath that garden. And to the far right is my Calusha hedge. There's black tourmaline trenched all around my building. You can use it to help move energy through your building. You can create prosperity. Like I said, I have a master giant grid in the middle of my building. I have a baby grid at my front door, a baby grid at the back door. If you look really, really, really closely, that is a bagua on the front of my building. And then I have a bagua on my back door as well. It helps with prosperity. And it's a really great way to amplify your practice. Even if you're working out of a room, you can put stones that correspond to your directions. This is a pretty easy concept, especially if you are an acupuncture physician, because you're familiar with direction. But using crystals in your practice, you can use it by color. You can use it to anchor and protect. Right in that corner window in the front, I'm pointing to it like you can see me point. There's actually a cactus blocking it. I have a big black tourmaline that I have had since I've been in practice that has come with me everywhere I go. And it's right on my front window by the door. So using crystals, using the principles of feng shui is another really great way you can incorporate them into your practice. Oops. Okay, so let's talk about the ways you can use crystals in your practice, just kind of like a refresh. You can use a pendulum. You can use them in decor. And if you do use them in decor, if you want to get like a big piece, go to a gem show. Go to a gem show, walk around. If something speaks to you, get it. Remember, the bigger the crystal, the bigger the door, and that's going to have a bigger vibrational rate. So I like buying big pieces now. Unfortunately, I can't go march out to my dining room table. I have a giant amethyst this big on my dining room table. You can use crystals for protection. We talked about using black stones. You can use crystal elixirs. You can use them in crystal gritting for a patient. You can use them in your facial tools. You can use them in a biomat. Any questions, Char?
No.
Okay. So this is my baby. This is a gemstone acupuncture facial. I received my final trademark this week. It took over 4 years to get. I went to a jewelry show because this has been a business of mine. And I think before 2000, it might have been like in 1999. And I don't know, I had like this intuition. And I went and I bought a set of crystals that you see on this beautiful model's face. And I just use those every day in practice. I use them in critting, I use them everywhere. I still keep them in an artist palette. And I didn't talk about it until about 4 or 5 years ago. And then I was doing a lot of media and it blew up everywhere. And it's been seen everywhere from Alitalia to German Bazaar. It's been Allure, Shape, InStyle, Oprah, Well and Good, almost every magazine that you can think of, it's been in. Obviously, this is a crystal grid on the face. It's service marked, it's trademarked. I will be training students sometime soon. I've been putting it off for a while because we've had the pandemic, and also stone prices are through the roof. And that is what a huge chunk of what the training cost is getting these stones. And I will be training some select students. I thought, in the beginning of the pandemic, it wasn't going to last so long, or I was going to do it before the pandemic, and then we had the pandemic. And right now, gold, jewelry, gemstones have gone through the roof. So I need to wait until things kind of settle down. Hopefully that'll be before the end of the year. There's a lot more than what you see that goes into this, and this is what I'll be training. And I wanted to just share it. This is what I do. This is a signature treatment of mine. I don't do it that often, but this is my baby. And I wanted to just share this with you. I'm diehard about jewelry, gemstones. These are gemstones, guys. They are not crystals. These are hardcore stones.
If you have a sign up list.
Yeah, email me. I have it at the end of this. And it's elizabeth@tratner.net. And you can always find me through Instagram, or you can just send me an email. Okay, question time. Any questions? And just to let you know, I'm just, this photo here, this is a photo for like design. This is not what I'm doing on patients, okay? And I want to make that really, really clear with you. I do not have a time, nor do you when treating a patient, to do this kind of a production. This is more for just the beauty of it and how beautiful it looks. So I want to make that really clear. This is just not what I do every day. This is more for the beauty of the photo. So any questions? Do you have any questions out there? I think we're a really good time. So I just want to take an opportunity to thank you so much for joining me today. Remember, crystals are not renewable resources. Treat them with the utmost respect. It took millions and millions of years to form them. You can't just toss them out. So please remember that when you're buying them, when you're using them, have reverence for them. If you have any questions, you can email me. It's elizabeth@tratner.net.com. So elizabeth@tratner.net. My Instagram is Dr. Eliz Tratz, DrElizTratts. You can also see a little bit more about Helia House, which is Helia, Helia House. I named my building after the sun. You guys know I will wear a sun ring. I can't thank you enough for joining me today. This was really fun. Thank you to East. Just want to shout out all my friends who are presenting today and tomorrow. And if there's any questions before we leave. No, okay. Well, everybody, thank you so much again. Have an amazing Friday. Enjoy the presentation tomorrow. East, huge hugs. We did it. And hopefully I will hear from you soon. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. Okay. Oh, there's all the messages. Oh, I see Carrie. Okay, thanks. All right. All right, bye, everyone. Thank you.